Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Gary's Movie Emporium. Today is another wild-eyed review here for the movie Wrestle-Massacre, starring Richie Acevedo, Rene Dupree, Nikolai Volkov, Tony Atlas, and Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant. Says you can't tap out when you're dead. Basically, this is about Randy, an awkward groundskeeper who's obsessed with professional wrestling. And he's been longing for a sense of belonging with the dream of becoming a wrestling superstar. But he's met with an abject humiliation, which the humiliation was him getting into the ring because he said he had what it took to be a wrestler. And the wrestling school owner, or Jimmy Valiant in this, embarrassed him and pinned him. And then the fans started laughing at him and some of the wrestling school as well. But he pushes a brutal shaming at a local wrestling school, pushes Randy over the edge, and he sets out on a blood-soaked rampage to punish those who wronged him by tearing them limb by limb and crafting his own championship belt out of human skin, and he sewed it himself. Made from human remains. And it says it's a bloody good time, says Pop Horror. This currently gets a 6.9 on IMDb, which is really good considering, the elements of this movie going into it, because it kind of seems like it would be below even IMDb in terms of, what goes on in this in terms of like the violence and stuff. It was done by director Brad Twigg as well. He let's see. It also stars another wrestler too. I noticed Manny Fernandez. He was a wrestler I grew up watching. It has Nikolai Volkov in this. Nikolai Volkov plays Randy's father. Let's see. This also was made by, was a it was kind of like I don't know if it's produced by Fuzzy Monkey Films. And this movie has an official Facebook site for this movie as well. I don't know if it's still active. The music, it says, was done by Cemetery Pawn. And one of the songs was written by Mike Treblecock. And basically this movie is basically about Randy, who in real life, Richie Acevedo, or Vedo, was actually a wrestler in real life. He went by the wrestler named Cuban Assassin. But on to the movie and what it's about, basically, like I read in the synopsis, it's basically about a groundskeeper, but his job performance hasn't really been living up to. I'm not lying here. His boss's name is Mr. Hogan. He didn't really live up to Mr. Hogan's expectations on the job being a groundskeeper, because he was caught spying on a woman showering. He creeps a couple out named Owen and Becky, who Owen ain't exactly on the up and up himself. He's borrowed nearly $14,000 from this terrible bunch that want their money now, and he better pay up or they'll be putting him in the hospital. And Owen and Becky are kind of like on the fence about being a couple, because you could get the tension, like she's sick of all of his gambling debts and things like that. But in the meantime, Randy has a thing for Becky, and she doesn't like him like that. She feels sorry for him, but she's kind of creeped out by him at the same time. She just doesn't want to be mean to him, because it's not in her nature. I just kind of thought she's a really good actress in it, but I just kind of felt the character that she played was kind of two-faced, because I felt like she liked Randy, and then she went back behind his back and said stuff to his friends about how he's creepy and and things of that nature. Um, Also in this movie, one of the basically bodyguards for this corrupt, uh, you say crime boss, I guess you could say. One of the men in his group was the legendary Sandman as well. I knew instantly it was him. I could tell by his mannerisms. He played one of the hitman, kind of like hitman or bruiser men that you send to do a job that you want to take care of somebody that owes you money. And also in this movie, Sean C. Phillips pops up in it at about 11 minutes in this, and he plays a dual role. He plays a guy cleaning his car and polishing his car, and he plays his own girlfriend at the same time. It was funny. It was really good comic relief. It was different. And back to what Randy's doing here. Uh, he does do some odd jobs too. I don't know if he does the odd jobs per se through his company or for himself, but he did work. He does end up working for Owen and Becky, and that's when he becomes obsessed, kind of with Becky as well. Uh, and he's been dreaming of becoming a wrestler because he's just obsessed. And then one day he's dozing off in his, I don't know if it's his chair or his couch, but he's dozing off, and he'd been watching a religious program, and I don't know if he fell asleep watching it. And in the meantime, in his dream, the minister or preacher in the video he's watching comes out of the TV more or less, not physically, but one-on-one talking to Randy, telling him basically there's this image of them telling him he should go to wrestling school, and basically sign up. And I think he wakes up fully, and then I don't know if he's seen the video or the commercial for Boogie Woogie Man's wrestling school, but it's not long after that he joins the before wrestling school, or I don't know if it's before or after that, but he joins a wrestling school, and in the meantime, Mr. Hogan wants to see him. That's his boss for the groundskeeping company. He wants to see him because he's disappointed with his job performance, and he confronts him, and he wants him to write his own evaluation of how he thinks he is as a worker, and they're total opposites. And he goes, "Well, that tells me something. Basically, if we're two opposites on our job performance statements here," he goes, "that tells me you're not doing your job, and I have to let you go." Not just because of that, but I guess the son to Mr. Hogan said, "Well, we also let you go because you ditched your job to go be a wrestler," and he's fired. So he has no income now, and he basically has to rely on winning in wrestling to be paid. And after he joins the school, well, as in the synopsis, he was embarrassed too when he went to the school. He was pinned by the main owner of the school, Jimmy Valiant, or Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant. And Randy's dad is the legendary Nikolai Volkov in this one. He thinks Randy's an embarrassment. He keeps calling Randy's mother ugly, terrible, and just outright embarrassing. And then Randy becomes so over the edge with his father's insults that he strangles his father. And then this is where it gets really zany, and it almost becomes like Tromaville like at this point, because he starts going on a killing rampage. He starts taking out everybody that ridiculed him. He goes back to the gym where he was embarrassed. He kills the owner, Jimmy Valiant. He At times, this movie is very Pineapple Express like, mixed with a Tromaville movie. That's the kind of vibe I got. I know I'm leaving another movie out of there too. That kind of feels like, but uh, the 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 bad, I don't know, like syndicate there that Owen owes money to. Uh, the Mr. Valentine himself um, looks very much like the wrestling manager Howdy Price from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, because he's this really fat guy, not very intimidating, and he's like probably a little person. It kind of looked like he could have just been short too, but he was probably all of maybe 4 feet, and it was kind of funny like to have him the head of this syndicate of sorts, and in the meantime, it's just laughable because he's like showing up to Owen and Becky's house wanting his money, and here in the meantime, Randy's picking off each one of his guys. He's gouging eyes out. He's going to town. He's doing in the meantime, he's doing wrestling holds on each one of the guys in the syndicate, and he's taking them out, and he's like, it's kind of like a mix of old professional wrestling, which is cool, mixed with Tromaville results, because he's like smashing heads. There's a part where he's fed up. He rips off a nipple ring of a lady, and just it's just very over the top. I've never seen a movie where a wrestler goes on a rampage like this. It just continues. It was well done makeup effects. Like I said, there's a flesh belt that's made that he dons as his championship. Gets to the Just one complaint before I go on. Sometimes the audio editing in this fluctuates in certain scenes. Like, I noticed it cut away sometimes and then it'd get louder. I don't know if anybody else had that problem with this. It could also just be a defective disc. I'm not sure. But the audio pops in and out a little bit. Not like you can't hear it, but like it gets louder. And it felt like some of the scenes weren't edited properly. Well, other than that, this is a fun ride. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm sorry about the 13-minute review here, but there's a lot going on in this film. Becky shoots Randy in the end. Apparently it kills him, only to have Lucifer resurrect him, and she shoots him again, shoots Randy again by the end here, and I have no idea. That's the way it ended. I don't know if he'll pop back up, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure where they're going with this one. I think this one might have been kind of popular based on the title alone, but I don't know, because wrestling's kind of not, doesn't have the popularity as it once did. But I was really impressed with a lot of the wrestlers' performances in this one. I was impressed with pretty much the no-name cast that I saw in this one. Brad Twigg did a very good job. Julio Bana Fernandez was a good writer. Matthew L. Furman was a good writer. I mean, everything clicked in this movie. The only complaints I probably would have had is it didn't get right to the violence right away. It took a little bit. And maybe the editing, audio stuff. Other than that, this one was really fun. I would probably give this one about a 7 even. It was entertaining for sure. I definitely would love a sequel. Hopefully they can get some more wrestlers back for that one. But that's my review for today, and I give this 2 thumbs up. And let's hopefully make Wrestle-Massacre 2, guys. Thank you for watching my reviews and hanging out here at the Emporium. And I'll see you in a day or so, guys. Bye.